to another episode of the Storytelling Chronicles. I'm your host, the Bodacious Cowboy. Let's get this story started. Say what?
Look out! Pop, pop, it's showtime. 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 Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. Gone tell. Oh, they don't know. Gone tell. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Showed up. I'm wearing Cuban links. Yeah. Designer mix. Yeah. Inglewood's finest shoes. Whoop, whoop. Don't look too hard, might hurt yourself. Known to give the color red the blues. Woo, shit. I'm a dangerous man with some money in my pocket. Keep up. So many pretty girls around me and they're waking up.
There are cars everywhere.
Bobby's, you're about to get on the interstate,
Oh
so
my
slow
God.
the truck down.
Oh God.
Slow the truck down. For real, slow the truck down. Stay over here on the left, okay? Take your high side, go up here, okay?
I cannot believe I'm getting on the interstate.
Accelerate, accelerate, accelerate. Stay on this side, accelerate, go faster. Go faster, faster, Bobby, faster.
Crap, 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 crap.
Look at all this traffic.
There are cars everywhere.
And now we're gonna take it to the highest gear that you've ever been in. We're gonna take it to the 10th gear.
Now?
Now. There we go.
10th gear, baby!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Storytelling Chronicles. I'm your host, the Bodacious Cowboy. It is Monday, November 13th, and we have a great show in store for you today. I have a good friend. I met her down at the Broker Carrier Summit in Tampa not so long ago. We're going to bring her in right now. Sheree Moore. Here we go. Hey,
Hello.
Sheree, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for having me on today, Jeff.
Oh, absolutely. You're a woman in trucking, been in it for a while. I just watched you literally take Bobby Bones to the highway, which was awesome. We had a lot of good conversations while we were down in Tampa. And one of the reasons I wanted you to come on the show, because I still think that we have a lot to talk about. So why don't you introduce yourself to those who don't know who Sheree is?
Well, I am Sheree Moore. I'm the founder of She Trucking, which is one of the largest organizations for women in the industry. We have over 30,000 women who we support and mentor in our Facebook community. She Trucking. It's free to join. Everyone join in. And we also have done multiple different, participated in multiple different things, like the apprenticeship program for the White House. I'm National Geographic Champion of Change on CNN, and many, many other things as well. So thank you again for having us. Like, we represent women and minorities in the trucking industry.
Yes, and that is so important. And I support all women drivers and all women who are in the logistic field. They do such a great job. And it's unfortunately, they really don't get the attention that they should get. And I've worked with so many great women over the decades, and they helped me to be who I am today, without a doubt. I even reported to a woman while I was in my career and learning and growing. So I thank them all and appreciate it. When we were down in Tampa not so long ago, we all met at the Broker Carrier Summit, and what a summit it was. We were talking in the green room before about the differences, just briefly about, between brokers and carriers. And it was so funny when we entered into that room, we were talking about the reception the first night and how the brokers and the carriers were on each side of the room. And then all of a sudden, everybody had a few cocktails, and next thing you know, they started intertwining and they started chatting and opening up. And I thought it was such a great engagement. I know you agree with me as well. So coming from a woman's perspective, from behind the wheel, being in the industry as long as you have, what do you think is the biggest differentiator between carrier and brokers that are causing the tensions that we have today?
Well, let me just say the Broker Carrier event was absolutely amazing. I've been driving trucks since 2014. And so to be able to sit down in a room and actually talk to brokers, hear from carriers, the conversations back and forth was just absolutely amazing. And I haven't seen that in any other event. It's a one of a kind event. If you are at the end of your seat, listen, click the link, get your ticket today, and definitely show up in April in Kansas City, because the movement will continue to move, and we will continue to keep building these relationships with brokers and carriers and shippers, and be able to solve the issue, because I think that's the biggest issue. To answer your question, is it's never been that form of communication.
Yeah.
Brokers kind of sit in the office. They don't really get on the floor with us. So they don't really know what the carriers kind of go through. So it brings that division. And I see now, even just talking since out the event to some of the carriers and some of the brokers, how that now they have that relationship where they can continue to do good business together. So within my years of 10 years almost next year, I never, like I said, I never had that opportunity. It was more click the button, call the broker. Hey, can I get this low? I need it for a little bit more. The conversation that we
Oh,
had,
sure.
and then that's it. And so it just that was the biggest challenge, I think, is communication in the industry, and y'all are bridging the gap. So kudos to everyone that is putting the broker carrier summit together.
Yeah, yeah. And you know something? Do you think it's ignorance on let's just call it for what it is, right? Do you think it's ignorance on both sides, being on the carrier side and the broker side? And let's not forget about the shipper, because the shipper is the one that starts the movement, right? And then either the shipper is going directly to an asset, which is the carrier, or on specific lanes, the shipper is going to a broker who contacts the shipper. And it's like the grapevine sometimes. And you know what the grapevine is. By the time it gets to the end person, it's not what it is.
Right.
So why do you think that happens? And there's no benefit to it, right? There's really no benefit, and it kind of hurts the shipper. So what do you think? Why do they do that? On both sides. Let's just look at all sides. From a carrier, not telling them exactly the truth, right? Broker, same thing. Shipper, same thing. What are they trying to do?
Well, I think the biggest issue, in the previous years was technology. So thank God for technology coming in, whereas you can communicate more effectively. Talking to some of the drivers before me who paved the way, they didn't even have cell phones, right, when they was on the road. So how was that form of communication? So now that we have more technology, it's easier to communicate. We can't leave out the dispatchers, right? Because then there's another player that's in the game uh that you have to go through. So many channels, and like you said, if you back in the day when we played the game, you whisper in someone's ear one thing, and when it got to the last one, it's all different and separate. um but now that we have technology, we can get places faster. you know we can be able to make sure that we have accurate results that we're looking for, so we can plan our routes to get there on time. We can do really drive better. In the past, like I said, I just really think it was lack of technology, because and I'm going to ask you this question, how did the brokers connect with the carriers when it was no computers, it
Oh,
was no cell phones? So, and you had to either, I guess, mail in. Can you educate me on that? Like, how was that communication made?
phones. We had phones. We had fax machines. That was like the primary way that we communicated. We had the Nextels, which were like high performing walkie talkies, that you could communicate with everybody. And then Qualcomm, they had the Qualcomms back there as well, where they put in abbreviations, because every letter charge, there was a charge associated with it. I don't remember exactly what that charge was, but that's how they did the communication. But the thing is, it's like, when you talk about communications, it's all fair that technology is definitely a good driver to help everybody get to where they need to be. However, the driver that's not there is when a shipper says it takes about an hour to load a truck, when actually it's 2.5 hours or 3 hours, and they don't understand, or kind of push it by the wayside, the HOS hours of service, when you can drive 11 hours and have 3 hours, whether it's doing paperwork or on the dock or wherever, right? That chews into it. That affects the on-time delivery performance on the back end, but they lie. It's just like they tell you one thing and it's not. And it's not that, I don't want to lose this carrier. If the carrier gets you and I tell him what he wants to hear, what's the high probability that they're going to say, that's it, I'm out? And the guy just drove in 75 miles. High probability that the driver is going to say, yeah, I'm going to take it, but that's the last time I moved this freight. I mean, that happens all the time where there's not full transparency and they think they're pulling something over on the carrier when they're actually hurting themselves and hurting themselves bad. It's the same thing when they communicate with a broker and, of course, the dispatcher. Maybe we should get dispatchers to go to the carrier broker one. That's a great idea. Just think, because when you really think of it, there's 4 entities, right? You got the shipper, you got the broker, you got the dispatcher, and then you got the carrier that's hauling the goods, right? And that chain, that grapevine chain, right, changes so much. It's like I said, the transparency is not there, and everybody's trying to pull the wool over somebody else's eye. Oh, I don't have much into this. I got $50. Meanwhile, they got $500 in there in margins, right? Because they're really trying to squish the guy. They're not building the loyalty. They're not building their corral of carriers or long-term business relationships. They're destroying them, and they're destroying them quickly by trying to make a big buck and only thinking of today, not tomorrow, right?
Absolutely. Transparency is the takeaway that I just got from what you said. And that's where I was going with it as well, because it needs to be transparency. Like, for instance, I believe it should be a percentage that brokers actually take. And that way it can be more transparent, or you can at least see the shipper actual bill,
But there
And
is,
so
though.
once it
There
gets
is.
to the carrier, it's like, it is what it is. It's kind
Right. I mean, let's get into
of
transparency.
blind.
Why don't you do a cost plus program? You could do that, right? Saying,
Mhm.
okay, I'm buying it for X and I'm putting 10% on it. Everybody knows what your upcharges are, right? The carrier knows it, the dispatcher knows it, the broker knows it, shipper knows it, everybody knows it, and they're fine with it. This is
Yeah.
it. There's no hidden agenda here. Okay. All my accessorials, complete pass through. I'm not going to upcharge you on it. It is what it is, right? If it's the fuel and the fuel is yours, I'm not going to make money on it. That's yours, right? I did nothing. You drove the truck to whatever station, right? And Flying J or whatever you want to go to, Shiza's or whatever, and you got the fuel. I didn't get that, so why should I make money on your fuel?
And the current way that business is being handled is hurting the industry, and it's really hurting. And it's just, these are things that can be changed and implemented into companies. When I look for a broker to do business with, I rather look for those that I have a better relationship with, the ones that I see that it's more transparent, because communication is better on my end as well as a carrier. Those relationships is what we need, and it has to start with being more transparent, like I said, give it, because once the broker take their rate, then the dispatcher take their rate, and then you get down to the carrier, and then now the driver got the cents, right? That's how you get to the 70 cents or 50 cents, or when I started 25 cents a mile. Yeah, 25 cents a mile.
That's unbelievable. Like one of my really good friends, Dean Croak from Dat Freight and Analytics. He's the principal guy there, and he said he summed it up very good. He says, in this industry, you're one breakdown away from bankruptcy. When you really think about that, right? When you think about a turbochargers or a flat tire or something like that, they're expensive. They're freaking expensive. And a lot of shippers and brokers, for some reason, they have like a mind block. They don't understand the cost of maintenance and it's not just paying the carrier, let's say $2.25 a mile or whatever. There's a large portion of that going to make sure that their their trailer, their power unit is roadworthy, it's safe. I'm going to be safe, going to take care of your freight, etc. But a lot of them don't understand it or take that into consideration. They're here today and gone tomorrow. I'll find another carrier. There's so many carriers out there right now. It doesn't matter if X does it for $900 cheaper than what I could buy it for. I'll use them for this load, and then I'll find another one. He'll probably won't do any business with me anyway. And that's what destroys the industry, and how everybody starts diving to the bottom, right? And that's what it is. The shippers are diving to the bottom because it's a shippers market. The brokers are diving to the bottom to make the best margins that they possibly can. They're only thinking today. They're not thinking for tomorrow or the future, and how they can build their carrier pool by taking care of the people that basically take care of them, or literally take care of them, right? And that's the biggest problem on that.
When you spoke about maintenance, I was just thinking like a simple air leak, right? It's going to cost you $300 to $500 minimum for just someone to come out and look at it. Okay. And so think about, for those that are listening, if you are a broker, think about that. Like, hey, you can't cut it so close that they just can only pay the driver, but what for in case of emergencies, even now, winter time is here. So if I need chains or different things like that for the company, sedatives. So because right now you got to change all your fluids out your truck.
Oh
If
yeah.
you don't, your whole truck frees up and you can't go. So
Uh,
that's money as well. That's money. You're talking about an oil change, $500 for, a PM. And so those are some of the things that, when the carriers are asking for that little more, it's because that's what it costs to operate. And I think too, having a system where they can put operation costs into it will be also more transparent for the carrier. So people that people will understand. You can just look at it and you can tell if this is a load that you can even take. If this is a load that's even worth talking to anyone and wasting people time for, and I think even on the carrier side, some of our carriers don't even know how much it costs to operate, and it needs to be more educated on. But I believe in technology, and I believe that that load board, especially truck stops and all these other load boards, could add a place into the system where it can have that overhead cost for the carriers so they can be more transparent.
True. A PM is a PM. A cost is a cost. It's just like different care. Everybody has the same breakdown, right? I wouldn't say everybody, but it's the same thing. It's turbochargers. It could be a transmission, and it could be brakes. It could be the air canister, J handles. It could be a rip in the trailer. I mean, could just be a plethora of things.
Tire
Right?
blowout.
Right, exactly. And so when you look at that, right, the only difference, and it's relatable to moving freight, is that some carriers pay their mechanics more than others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some carriers have contracts with road service. Some cost more than others. So it's the same thing when you're selling freight, right? Some carriers will do it for 2,000. Some will do it for 1,500. The shipper has products. They'll do a discount on there to get rid of a lot of old inventory, but they'll try to make it up on the backside as well. So everybody's trying to make a dollar. Everybody needs to make a dollar in order to survive. I mean, that's the industry. We don't do this for free. So the thing is that you just gotta focus in on what do you want to do and how do you want to grow your business, whether you're on the brokerage side, as a shipper side, or a carrier, right? What can I do different in order to create more partnerships, right? Long-term business partnerships, that is, and get more carriers into my corral. Like for myself, I don't deal with transactional business because of the risk, the lack of control, and you don't really build your corral with a lot of carriers. I like to use the same carriers all the time. So that's why I do dedicated long-term business transactions. Like I have my first client, I call the poster child client, if you will, and they've been on board with me for over 4.5 years. they're one-off kind of deal. I get business for them, but it's always the same carrier. You're always the same carrier. I never change that carrier up. If it comes to that lane, that carrier gets it, and he knows. As soon as I call, he has a load. And they look forward to seeing him because, like you said earlier, they're building the relationships. They look forward to seeing the truck driver. They look forward to seeing the dock supervisor. They understand the logistics and the operations better than anybody else. It's so streamlined. And that's where we got to get to. That's where I want to be. I think you as a truck driver as well, and I would think a lot of truck drivers would love that consistency level.
Right. I always think about it like this too. What would you rather have, respect or loyalty?
I would like both, but loyalty would gain respect.
Right.
If you think of it that way, because if you're loyal to one person, they'll be there for you. They'll do anything possible in order to service your business to the best of their ability, and they're not going to BS you if they happen to get a breakdown or anything. They'll tell you, my driver overslept. It's my fault. I already talked to him, or her, and they know to never do that again. That's what I want to hear. Tell me stuff I don't want to hear. Those are the kind of things, because I know you're being honest and your integrity is first and foremost, just the way I am. So I know there's congruency there. That's the way transaction business and long-term business partnerships are forged, truly.
Right. So it's, a lot of people go after just the respect, and they need to be going after loyal carriers that you spoke about. Loyal, just building that loyalty. You want, because if a carrier and a driver is loyal to you, we're gonna do anything in our power to get the job done. We're gonna drive over snow, ice, sleet. We're gonna take chances. We're gonna get it there because number one, we so loyal. We don't want to disappoint you. And
No,
so by the morning, we will endless nights. I mean, I've driven way out of, over my time, and I'll be honest, this was way before too as well, the ELDs, but
yeah,
we drove to get that load there, rain, sleet, snow, going way past our hours because we want to make sure that broker was happy. And
right,
that's the type of loyalty that I feel like needs to come back in. Even if say if you just can't make it and your truck do break down, guess what? It's so now with technology we can just reach out to someone else who may can carry it the rest of the way. But
right,
if you have that driver or that carrier who's thinking like that because they loyal to you, then they'll do that. They'll go that extra mile. If you just trying to move that one load and you never have loyal customers, you're gonna live that turnover lifestyle. I
yeah.
feel like it's just a turnover lifestyle.
Yeah, and you know what? All my business is just like that. The carriers that I have on this single client, as an example, if one happens to break down, the other carrier is picking up that slack,
Yeah.
and it's just like the recovery is right there. It's instantaneous. Boom, boom, boom. I don't have to worry about a thing there. Now, when we talk about transparency in relationships as well, I can bitch and moan at the carriers and the shippers because I'm honest and I'll tell them exactly what they don't want to hear. But they also do that to me as well.
Mhm.
So that means we want to work together. We'll do whatever it takes in order to meet the requirements, just not on one side, but on my side as well. And what I can do to help them streamline a bad operation or make them aware of something's going wrong because we see it, we're on the ground, we see what's happening. And who are my eyes? My carrier, because it affects my carrier. So my carrier tells me, and then I tell them, and it's just like that vicious circle going back and forth. But they're still with me. They've been with me for years because we can interact that way. We're at that point now where we can trust each other. You talk about the loyalty, talk about the respect. That's where the respect comes in. Respect isn't given, it's earned.
It's
And
right.
right. And that only happens from being truthful and being honest and saying what you really don't want to say, but you say it anyway. Who wants to say that my driver overslept?
Right.
Nobody wants to say that. It's just like guarantees. to me, guarantees are non-existent because you're not God. There's so many, act of God exceptions out there that you don't have control over. The broker has no control. The shipper has no control. The only one that has control is God. You can't change the outcome on those things, and that's why I'm kind of hesitant on putting guarantees on a lot of things because anything can happen, especially around the winter time.
Yeah.
So many possibilities. Like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reroute you and go more on a southerly route than go up through the middle and go into the Midwest and then come across Pennsylvania and New York. I'm going to kind of circumvent that route and go a southerly route. That's going to add 1 or 2 days. But now you might possibly have that 1 or 2 delay anyway if you go up there. But at least your product's going to be safe. There'll be less risk or whatever. I mean, you got to think of these kind of things, and that helps out the carrier as well because you're helping them save their equipment,
Yes.
right, from an accident.
That's right. That's right. It's so beneficial. I always wonder, you know what I didn't like when I was driving, and
Well,
I did those check-in. They would. It seemed like the dispatch, the brokers would ask, "Where are you?" And I'm thinking, I'm on the GPS. You can't see me, you know. So I would be like, "What is going on?" And so after a while, you start realizing too. Instead of them asking you where you are, go ahead and let them know. Give them an ETA. And so, if carriers, if you're listening, drivers, if you're listening, go ahead and be proactive, okay, and go ahead and communicate first and let them know what's your ETA. If you have any slowdowns or anything traffic backed up, go ahead and send that message and stay and communicate with the brokers so they can communicate with the shippers, and then your days are better. They'll go better and smoother, and you won't get all those messages. And so that's what that way is the right way of doing business and communicating.
oh my God, yes. I mean, I say that all the time. I say the best way to fend off questions is to beat them before they question you. So
Yes.
if something goes wrong and you know it, don't wait. Don't wait at all. Send that text message or something, as long as it's safe. Please be safe, to the shipper and the broker, and let them know, hey,
Mhm.
this just happened. There's going to be a delay on the ETA. I know it's supposed to be delivered tomorrow morning. It looks like, and I can't promise you, it all depends on how fast they can clean up this road or whatever it might be. I might be there late this afternoon. Just want
Mhm.
to give you a heads up and let your operations guy know that there's going to be degradation in service. Easy as that. I'm
Mhm.
not going to get an email. You're not going to get an email because they know what's happening. And how
Right.
long did that take? Maybe 10, 15 seconds?
Right. And
That's it.
preventative maintenance, go ahead and get your truck checked out. Okay. We know the season has changed. Go ahead and check your truck out. Do it on doing that 34-hour reset time. That's
Yes.
the best time to go ahead and send your truck on to the shop and get the mechanics to get their hands on it. That way, Monday morning when you're ready to roll out, you know that you can roll out and finish the week off, and keep on rolling. Because if your wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. And so you got to make sure that you take care of that ahead of time. So,
I'm with you on that because, and I said this on a past podcast, Sheree. During your 14 hours on the clock, you have that 3 hours of downtime, right? Which isn't really downtime. I mean, you're working, you're doing something, like I said. Do the pre-check and the post-check on your trailer. So many drivers don't do that. I don't know why. I mean, even with
you
the
know why? Let me answer you.
yeah,
Because they don't get paid for it. So preach and that listen, safety is the number one important thing for us to get home. So definitely do your pre trips, do your post trip, and do your en route trips. Let me
yep,
but disclaimer: drivers, and this is the biggest problem. Drivers don't get paid for on duty time. Okay, on duty time is when we fuel in the truck, when we're doing our pre trips inspections and our post trip. So I feel like if drivers start getting paid for those on duty times, they will take it more serious. They will be more thorough, and they will really. It seems like that's overlooked. So they working for free, and this is not their truck if they just a company driver, And so why should, they're gonna document it, but they don't get paid for it. And so I wish that would change, where the drivers could get paid for their own duty time. Now, some companies, the Teamsters, they do a good job at paying their own duty time. When they doing the fuel, different companies, they have their own duty pay. And I noticed that those companies, they don't have a high turnover rate. Those companies, the drivers, they stay for a very long time. They the loyal drivers, the loyal, to the companies, because they put that in consideration. But the drivers who don't get paid, they skip over it. They may kick a couple tires, do a walk around because they gotta, look in the back of the trailer and make sure it's, still secure. But other than that, they're not doing that thorough check. And so if you want to have a driver do that, pay them. And it doesn't matter, something, pay them something, or at least add that into a safety bonus, some type of incentive to be, and drivers do it anyway, because that's your safety. Okay.
I don't understand that. I don't know. I'm a highly logical person, but you would rather not do it and put your life in jeopardy than to take 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to walk around your trailer to make sure that you're safe and the community, being your fellow citizens that are on the road with you.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. So drivers, they walk around their truck. I mean, we have to fuel, so we got to go to one side to the other, right?
Yeah,
So they walk around it, but I'm talking about thorough. It's a difference between
yeah,
thorough. If we go to a rodeo, for instance,
yeah,
they'll hide like a duck in different places, right? Of the truck, and they do all these type of demonstrations to
right.
see if these things that you're looking for, on a daily basis. The thoroughness of it. If you want a thorough pre-trip, pay that driver to do it, because we're not here for free, right? We're here to make money too.
Oh,
And so
sure.
that's why,
Sure. A lot of them leave it for their next driver. If you do a drop and hook, right? They don't want to sit there and spend the time. I had to do a recovery on a trailer because the guy was like, yeah, they dropped the trailer in, but the trailer that was dropped in that I went to pick up is not roadworthy. It has bald skin, whatever. I've got an air canister that's hanging and a tail light that's out. And it's just like, why do drivers hand off their problems to other drivers on a drop and hook? For that simple reason, because they don't want to take the time out of their day, because their downtime means that they're not getting paid for their hours on the road, or for, you know what I'm saying, it's taken away from their hours of service there, because it's downtime. They're not making money.
most drivers, they only get paid by the miles,
Right.
right? And so if a driver getting paid by the miles, that's not miles, and that's why the solution to it is paying your driver on duty time. And that, I mean, you're talking about not even an hour of on duty time, $20, right? So maybe $20 a day. That's the extra $100 that can go into their paycheck, because it takes about, I'll say, 8 minutes to fuel, 10 minutes total, to fuel a truck. A pre-trip inspection, of course, it takes as long as it's needed, but you're looking at about 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 30 minutes per day.
Yep.
And that's not even a whole hour.
But
But if and pay them the little $20, give them $100, extra on their check, and you'll have a better driver. That creates a better driver, because after a while, it's kind of like, I'm exhausted. I just drove 600 miles, and yeah, I made sure that my tires are inflated, my airlines work, my fluids are full, but those simple, and no one pulled my fifth wheel. That's the things that we're checking, and no leaks. If it's anything in depth, further than that, I think that's when, if we want that in this industry, which we should, because it's safety, and
yep.
that helps us get loads there faster, quicker, move faster, be more effective, more efficient, then I think that, we need to really discuss that driver pay, being on duty pay, being put there. And the only person that can change that is the carrier.
Yeah, and something. I mean, think about the on-the-spot inspections and CSA checks and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, here you are. You didn't do your inspection because you're not getting paid for it, but you're on the road, and now you have to, uh, go to one of these inspections where you get pulled over for a DOT inspection, right? And now they start writing you up for bald tires or a directional signal that's not working or some other infractions that's there, right? What's worse? I mean, I know the answer to that. I mean, I don't know why somebody wouldn't want to take preventative, steps in order to make sure that when those DOT inspections happen, that they don't have to worry about that, that their company's not going to get fined. I mean, why would, you know what I'm saying? Because if you have a poor CSA score and you go on like Freight Validator or something like this, or a Carrier 911, whatever it may be. There's so many of them out there, that you have a bad CSA score. In fact, all this other kind of stuff. So what's worth more to you? Being shut down for multiple infractions, or taking the time out and spending those 15 minutes in order to do a walk around to check out the most important things, those tires, check the brakes, tail lights, those kind of things. Obviously, you're not going to dig into the engine and doing all this other kind of stuff, but just those small little things.
So this is why, going back to our first discussion, if it's a transparency in place where people can thoroughly take care of their equipment, they can thoroughly pay their drivers, then it will be a safer industry. When you jip when a broker don't give the carrier as much as they need to run, they're gonna cut corners. You're not so that, and that's what happens because they can't afford to get that tire fixed right now. They have to run on ball to make the money that they need, and a little bit of money right now because the freight sucks.
I know.
The little money that is being offered right now. So how can a carrier be a better carrier and a driver be a better driver? That's going to start at the top, and that starts with the shippers paying what they can pay, what that and the brokers being able to take their portion but not drain the carrier, and the carrier to be able to pay the driver to do the job that they have to do to move the freight. And that's why this is a whole family type of event. This is if one part doesn't do their job, the ending result is what you see now. So if you and having that loyalty, and going back to that with the brokers, now okay, that broker, he's gonna give you your fair rate. Okay. So now you can take care of your equipment because he don't want your equipment to break down. He want to make sure that the business stays good in business. And now that driver is happy. And those are the type of relationships and the cycle of how this all works, so you get, if you ain't paying, if I'm taking a load for 50 cents a mile, or if I'm taking a load for $1 a mile, $2 a mile, and my overhead is $3 a mile, I can't get my truck fixed. Okay, I can't stop and check my truck for that long. I gotta get it. I'm trying to get this regular load. That's how we look at it. We're trying to get this load off. It don't pay nothing real quick, and I'm trying to get another one so I can be able to pay my bills and fix my truck. And that's just as a business. I've been a carrier, so we think like, let me get done with this so I can get there with this next load. But I got to get the next load to pay for it.
Yeah.
See, that's the part.
Yeah.
So
we're still out here.
Mindset.
We need to get here, and that's what the Carrier Broker Summit's all about, right? I think we're moving in the right direction. Oh, I shouldn't say think. I know we're moving in the right direction. It's a movement. This event, it isn't just a gathering. It's a movement of people that want change. I think that's the best way to, address what that event is all about. And as we're talking about it, I'm going to bring this up real quick. For those of you out there who are brokers and carriers, both Sheree and myself, highly recommend that you go to the Broker Carrier Summit, their website, and check out the next event in Kansas City, Missouri, which is the 22nd through the 24th of April, 2024. There are so many great takeaways. When you go there, you're going to learn so much knowledge. It's a one of a kind event, being that you're there for a specific reason. It's all about carrier broker relationships and how you can get to congruency and understand how each works, and the benefits from doing that. And both Sheree and myself have seen that at the first event in Tampa. And if you do, go to the website, register this whole month. We have an early bird special where it's highly discounted, and also as an additional discount, the Bodacious Cowboy is offering an additional discount of 5%. Just use the code of Cowboy1 and you'll get another 5% off the early bird discounted rate. So head on over, check it out, look at the agenda and the topics. It is changing every single day as we build it. So I appreciate that.
Yes, amazing event. Y'all don't want to miss it. I'll be there. Jeff gonna be there. He gonna have a cowboy hat. I don't know where his hat at today. I feel some type of way, Mr. Jeff.
I'll wear it. But listen, the show's come to an end. I appreciate you coming on and joining me today. Always a good conversation with you, Sheree. I'd love to have you come back, in the near future. I think we're not finished. I think you can agree with that. There's so much more to discuss about the problems between brokers and carriers, shippers and dispatchers. We have to throw the dispatchers in there, right? That we need to, start getting to a common ground. We're so far apart still, and it's pretty noticeable from the conversation we just had today and all the previous conversations that I had with other guests that were on the show. So with that, thank you so much for coming on board and joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Let me just say this before I close. If you would like to join us, you can visit our website, shetrucking.com, and see what we're all about. We just finished a Touch a Truck event for our kids. It was absolutely amazing. We do a lot in the community and support our members as well. We always are taking donations as well. You can go to shetrucking.com to support our mission. We are a 501c3. I was able to attend the broker carrier event because I was sponsored by GLCS, which is an amazing technology company that can help your company if you're a carrier as well. And Jeff, thank you so much for having me on today. I'm just honored to be able to meet you and us take this forward. Now, look, as you see, we are what the event we are the mission of the event. I am a driver carrier and Jeff is a broker, and we are doing the work that it takes to build relationships in this industry. So thank you so much for having me on today.
Thank you so much. And we'll be talking too. So thank you for joining the Storytelling Chronicles. We're live every single Monday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube on the Bodacious Cowboy podcast channel. With that said, enjoy the rest of your week, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.